No, no, wait. Oh, yes, okay. Yes. Oh, wait, I gotta. Oh, God.
I don't like either one of them. Or Jeffries press release. If you have it, just text it to me.
Well, yeah.
Okay, or email. Thank you. I think that means they intend to sit there. If they're not here by now. I wouldn't have put it that way, but
because you're a gentleman.
Please make him make moves.
That's the main reason I didn't use for him. Not because I'm a gentleman.
Heads up.
Morning, everyone. House Democrats continue to fight to stop the GOP tax scam in its tracks. Trump's one big, ugly bill will rip away health care for more than 16 million Americans. Others across the country will pay higher premiums, co-pays, and deductibles because of this unprecedented attack on Medicaid, Medicare, and the Affordable Care Act. Hospitals will close, nursing homes will shut down, and people will die if the GOP tax scam ever becomes law. Republicans are also trying to jam the largest cut to nutritional assistance in American history down the throats of the American people by taking away more than $300 billion from SNAP. These extremists are literally ripping food from the mouths of children, seniors, and veterans in the United States of America. It's shameful. All of this is being done so that Republicans can provide massive tax breaks to their billionaire donors, and then they want to stick the American people with the bill, including by exploding the deficit by more than $3 trillion, saddling our children and grandchildren with this type of fiscal baggage that will hurt their ability to have a prosperous future and sets America on a possible path toward bankruptcy. The GOP tax scam is indeed a disgusting abomination. Questions?
Good morning. You've spoken about what you term as overly aggressive tactics by ICE agents here. Are you concerned, though, that possibly demasking some of these agents puts their safety or their family's safety in jeopardy? And why not?
Seems to me that the officials at the Department of Homeland Security, including ICE, should be held to the same standards as every other part of law enforcement in terms of transparency.
Amid this feud between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, should Musk be called before a House committee to testify?
I haven't had conversations with members of the relevant committees, which presumably, could include budget or ways and means or judiciary or oversight. And until I have those conversations, I don't think there's much more to add. Right now, we're focused on killing the bill. The GOP tax scam hurts everyday Americans and rewards billionaires. That's not what we should be doing at this moment in time in the United States of America. We should be building an affordable economy that lowers costs for hardworking American taxpayers. The GOP tax scam, this one big, ugly bill, does the exact opposite. It will raise costs and increase the financial burden on hardworking American taxpayers. That's what we're focused on as House Democrats and in support of the efforts of Senate Democrats to stop the one big ugly bill from ever becoming law. Thanks.
Are you concerned that cutting PEPFAR funding, that's something that the White House has proposed in the rescissions package, is going to set the United States back as a leader on the global effort to eradicate HIV/AIDS? What's your take? What's your message during Pride Month to folks out there who are concerned that the United States has been a leader with PEPFAR on HIV, but that's at risk now with the Republicans putting forward this rescissions package?
The effort to eradicate HIV and AIDS in sub-Saharan Africa and across the country, as led by the United States of America through PEPFAR, has been a phenomenal success. It's inhumane to abandon the PEPFAR effort. And this is a program that was put into place in a bipartisan way, led by President George W. Bush in partnership with leaders in the House of Representatives like Barbara Lee. It's shameful that because of their ideological extremism, Republicans are trying to crush the PEPFAR program, which ultimately helps the health, safety, and well-being of the American people by crushing HIV and AIDS. All of these efforts by the Trump administration to attack our public health successes, both here and abroad, put the American people in danger. And that's one of the reasons why House Democrats will be strongly opposed to the reckless Republican rescissions package. Thanks. Go to the back. You got it.
So some Democrats have said that they agree with Elon Musk when it comes to the bill. Do you think there's an opportunity here for Democrats to extend a hand to Musk, sort of bring him into your corner? Is that something you'd be interested in?
The opportunity that exists right now is to kill the GOP tax scam. It's legislation that we have been strongly opposed to and uniformly opposed to from the very beginning. Every single Democrat since February has voted against this one big ugly bill because it hurts everyday Americans. It rips health care away from millions of people. It snatches food out of the mouths of hungry children, and it rewards billionaires and their donors in ways that are fiscally irresponsible. To the extent that there's opportunity here, first and foremost, it begins with the effort to stop the GOP tax scam from ever becoming law. Thanks.
Just to put a finer point on that, should Elon Musk be welcomed back into the Democratic Party if that is something that is on the table, given everything he did as the leader of Doge?
Same answer.
Your former colleague here on the Hill, Lieutenant Governor Delgado, has gotten into the governor's race. What do you make of that? Is that a wise move? Do you welcome that? And from the perspective of next year, are you planning to stand behind Hochul regardless of any primary challenge?
I look forward to weighing in with respect to the governor's race in the immediate aftermath of the mayoral primary resolving itself. Governor Kathy Hochul has been a great partner to House Democrats and an important leader of our state during challenging times. And she just delivered a transformational budget that is going to lower costs for New York residents, keep us safer, and lays down a foundation for a more prosperous future in New York. Thanks.
Leader Jeffries, do you think that Musk's departure will change anything with the White House? Do you think Doge will scale back? Is this a positive development for you?
That's all an open question that needs to be evaluated over the next few weeks and next few months. Our position on a lot of the efforts of this Trump administration and what took place during the first 100 days remains clear. the first 100 days of the Trump administration and beyond throughout his presidency have been characterized by chaos, cruelty, and corruption. And at this moment in time, we're going to do everything that we can to stop the GOP tax scam from ever becoming law because it hurts the American people. And beyond that, we'll continue to push back against the far-right extremism that has been unleashed on the American people by the Trump administration in an extraordinary way, including efforts to dismantle the federal government as we know it and the attacks on veterans in particular, which is unacceptable, unpatriotic, and un-American. So nothing has changed in that regard. We continue to push back whenever and wherever necessary against the extremism that Donald Trump and compliant Republicans in the House have unleashed on the American people. And to the extent that there are former members of the Trump administration, as has been the case now for years, that actually have a greater degree of clarity about the downsides of Trumpism in the United States of America, we welcome continued conversations with those former members. Thanks.
My question is in President Trump foreign policy towards Middle East and Iran. What is your stand on current negotiation between President Trump and Iran on nuclear program?
Well, with respect, we don't have a great deal of visibility into what President Trump is trying to accomplish in terms of the current negotiations with Iran. Iran should never be allowed to become nuclear capable. And to the extent that there's an agreement that is reached that is designed to build upon the JCPOA, it should be longer and stronger than what had previously existed, and should be done, in a manner that is verifiable and resilient.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. If the aim is to kill Trump's bill, then how can Democrats right now strategically, tactically take advantage of this very public break between Donald Trump and Elon Musk?
We have to keep the pressure on House Republicans and Senate Republicans to do the right thing and vote in the best interests of the people that they represent, which means voting against Trump's one big ugly bill. To the extent that Elon Musk has made the same point, that everyone who has voted for this bill up until this moment should be ashamed of themselves, we agree. And to the extent that Elon Musk has made the point that the bill is a disgusting abomination, we agree. And to the extent that Elon Musk has made the observation about the GOP tax scam, that it is reckless and irresponsible to explode the deficit by more than $3 trillion, and that potentially could set our country on a path toward bankruptcy, we agree. These are arguments that Democrats have been making now for months. And it's the reason why every single House Democrat strongly opposed the GOP tax scam and why every single Senate Democrat is opposed to this one big ugly bill. Therefore, at this moment, we just need a handful of Senate Republicans to do the right thing in opposing the GOP tax scam and the reckless budget that limped barely out of the House of Representatives. We only need 4. And in fact, because it is likely that the junior senator from Kentucky will remain a hard no, we only need 3 additional Senate Republicans, and we can kill the bill. That's our focus right now. It's all hands on deck in that effort. And to the extent that the developments of this week will make it more likely that we can kill the GOP tax scam. That's a welcome development.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. There's obviously a limited number of ways that the House minority can prevent legislation from coming to the floor. What strategies are you suggesting to your Senate colleagues on ways to delay, prevent legislation from coming to the floor, whether it's this or rescissions?
Well, the next step in terms of the process related to Donald Trump's one big ugly bill will be to make the most powerful arguments possible to the Senate parliamentarian to strip out the extreme provisions that did not ever belong in a budget reconciliation bill. That's the next step in the process, and as I understand it, that can happen as early as next week. And I'm very confident in the ability of Leader Schumer and Senate Democrats to make the most forceful case possible.
Congressman Al Green is speaking on the House floor right now about impeaching President Trump. Have you had the chance to talk to him about his resolution? Should he still bring that forward?
I have not.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. There was some talk this week from Republicans on the House and the Senate about being open to potential sanctions on Russia. Is that something that Republican leadership has spoken to you and your fellow House Democrats about?
House Republicans talk a good game, but then they always fall apart at the end when Donald Trump, their puppet master, cracks down on them. These House Republicans talked a very good game about defending Medicaid, and then every single one of them collapsed at the end and caved to Donald Trump and voted for a bill that would represent the largest cut to Medicaid in American history, that will close down rural hospitals in their districts and do a whole bunch of damage to people all across the country. And in fact, at the end of the day, Trump's one big ugly bill didn't get more moderate in the last 24 hours before it was brought to the floor of the House for a vote. It got more extreme, including as it relates to throwing more people off their health care. And what did these so-called moderate Republicans do? They all fell in line and voted for it. Give me a break. So there's no reason for us to believe in the House of Representatives that these so-called moderate Republicans will do anything at the end of the day other than bend the knee to their puppet master, Donald Trump, because all they've been is a reckless rubber stamp for Donald Trump's extreme agenda. Thanks. Back.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. So Musk and his company's involvement with government kind of precedes this administration, will likely continue on after this administration. But yesterday we saw how some of that personal tension seemed to put in jeopardy at least some of that partnership, with Musk floating the idea of suspending the Dragon, for instance, the rocket, and the contracts there. Seems to be waffling on that. What would be your expectation for how the government interacts with a captive industry like Musk? Not just this administration, but going forward.
I have no specific observation as it relates to Elon Musk's situation right now relative to the threats that are being made by his former ally, Donald Trump, who he helped put into the White House and who might not be the president of the United States, as Elon Musk pointed out, without the hundreds of millions of dollars spent to elect Donald Trump in battleground states across America. That will all have to play itself out, though it's fair to say Donald Trump would likely not be the president of the United States of America right now without Elon Musk. With respect to how we deal with anyone's business dealings with any administration, including this one, we've got to make sure that the federal government is effective, is efficient, and is equitable. And that's not what we're seeing from the Trump administration right now. Last two questions.
Regular approach, Tom Cole saying he's marking up to the president's budget. That's a very large cut to non-defense discretionary. Where's this all leading at the end of the day?
We're very confident in Rosa DeLauro's leadership. It's my expectation that if House Republican appropriators mark to an extreme budget, that Democrats will be strongly opposed to it here in the House, and that we're going to work closely with Senate Democrats to bring about a situation where we can arrive at an enlightened appropriations product that actually meets the needs of the American people in terms of their health, their safety, their national security, and their economic well-being. Last question.
Once again, on the Trump-Musk spat, do you see any possibility of
That's a kind way to describe it, a spat.
divorce, if you like? Do you see any possibility of this having any bearing on the midterms in races that are particularly close, and might you even introduce it into the races?
I can tell you for certain that the extreme and reckless Republican budget, the GOP tax scam, Trump's one big ugly bill, will be a central part of the contrast that exists between House Democrats and House Republicans in the context of the midterm election. Republicans have done nothing. Nothing, not a single thing, nada, to lower the high cost of living in the United States of America. They have betrayed the American people. Trump and House Republicans have repeatedly broken their promise to lower costs and to make life better for the American people. In fact, what they said they were going to do is that costs were going to go down on day one. We're now 5 or 6 months into the administration. Costs aren't going down in the United States of America. They're going up. Things are becoming more expensive. The Trump tariffs are going to raise costs on everyday Americans by thousands of dollars a year and may very well crash the economy and drive us toward a recession. These are going to be core and critical issues in the midterm election. Thank you, everyone.